Well, I'm going to Jeff Zimmerman's. He's going to show me how to water his mushroom plants. I guess they're mushroom plants, not what you're thinking, hallucinogenic mushrooms. These are he wants to grow some sort of log with mushrooms on it. So, I mean, he's got the log, but you know. Anyway, I'm interested to see why he's doing this.
If you need to refill the water bottle for any reason, fill it from here. This looks gross,
yeah,
but it's spring water that just some logs have soaked in. So
okay.
So it's perfectly good water they paid money for, and the mushrooms can't handle tap water because the chlorine and the iron oxide or whatever fucks them up.
Why are you growing mushrooms, Jeff?
Because I don't know. Something happens. Something takes a hold of me. An idea takes a hold of me, and I'm in it, man. I'm like all the way in. You know? And
yeah.
So the idea.
I'm like that too.
Yeah, the idea of like growing my own garden, you know, to turn this. I thought how nice to turn this into, you know, a very plant-based and very nurturing. Yeah. Like, and we really want to make this feel like a kind of a weird escape home.
Yeah.
You know? And I got this vibe. Like, so you see those logs right there?
Right.
Those have been inoculated with these plugs of bioluminescent mushroom spawn.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me.
Yeah, so you gotta give these guys a spritz with the just every day one spritz.
With the same water?
Same water. And just to keep them soaking.
Okay.
So here, let me get this spray. Come on, I'll start you back.
And these aren't hallucinogenic.
No. These are oyster mushrooms, lion's mane mushrooms, and then you can't eat this. The Pinellus stypticus are bad for you, but you can't. There's no tripping.
Okay. The Pinellus stypticus are bad for you.
Stypticus is the bioluminescent ones.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
So these guys, they need a cool temperature, so they got to sit on the back of the toilet with the window cracked. You come in, see, look at them sticking out of the bag there?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Wow.
And all you got to do is give them a good soak, like that, and then you take the bag, and you want to really spray in there until you see some good droplets.
Okay.
Like it should be dripping.
Mm-hmm.
Put the bag back over. That's it.
Okay.
They're at a crucial stage where they need a lot of water, so just keep them moist.
Okay.
And this guy, I'm also trying to grow moss here, which also needs to stay moist, and it's not been staying.
And I should point out that this log is under a deer head, a deer antler, deer bust.
Yeah, it's a taxidermied deer's head. Yeah. This is the
glow-in-the-dark mushroom terrarium habitat log kit.
No, my vision.
Log not included.
My vision, Andy, was to fill this log with that spawn like these, and then just eventually have like a fucking tree full of glow-in-the-dark mushrooms in the living room. This is, see how it's like really swelling?
Yeah.
I think the mycelium is really getting going in there. That's my theory. I don't know. You know, a lot of these are going to be doomed. There's going to be some real disasters coming up. I don't know which ones. So my theory is this thing's swelling up and it's fitting to bust with, you know, bioluminescence.
Oh, I see. You think one of them's going to fail? Is that just pessimism, or is that...
You know, what's the difference between pessimism and realism?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, good luck with your interview, too, or your thing. Thanks, I don't know. Just, you have a lot... Sounds like you have a lot of...
All of a sudden, it's...
Hope.
I have a lot of hope. I've had a lot of dashed hope over the last year, so let's maintain a sense of perspective.
Right.
But
at this point, I'll take that. I'll just the semblance of short-term.
yeah. Like
hope.
Let me just live this dream for a while. This beautiful dream. Here are the keys.
All right.
Too easy.
All right, man. Thank you.
No problem. No, thank you.
Yeah,
you're doing me the favor.
Stockholm syndrome. Now I'm watering Jeff's mushrooms, and he said that he got a message from his cleaning lady that there was a leak. So I'm going to see where the leak is. I'm going to call him. Hey, what's up, Jeff?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Good. I'm just in your bathroom. It doesn't look terrible, but yeah, there is water dripping from the fixture in the ceiling.
Well, just thanks for the checking it out for me and for of course coming over to miss the crop there.
Okay. Well, the good news is your apartment looks nice and clean.
Good, great, yeah. The lady came over. Yeah, she's the one. I was literally on the runway about to take off when my cleaning lady texted me to say, "Oh, by the way, there's a leak in your ceiling coming out of the outlet. Good luck with that. I'm out of here."
That's a bummer.
So yeah, thanks for checking it out.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate it. All right, and thanks. Thanks for the heads up there.
Okay, bud. Good.
All right, thanks a lot.
Bye. Well, I'm back in Jeff's apartment. Jeff is subscribed, it looks like, to a magazine called Fungi Perfecti. How does Jeff get a girlfriend? How come I do weird shit and I'm creepy and upsetting, but Jeff's growing mushrooms and he's got a bunch of action figures and he's got a nice girlfriend? Why me, Lord? All right, Andy, come on. Settle down, buddy. I'm going to go spray these mushrooms, baby. You got to take there's a big plastic bag. So that's one bag down. There's a bra. I think I remember growing some shit in my life. You know, some people manage to, live in a place and it looks like it's been lived in. That's what this apartment looks like. I don't mean, bad. It looks like he's lived here for a while. He's got all this stuff. Alright, well, this has been fun. This is my last trip to Jeff's apartment. The lights are all out because I had to shut the circuit breaker off earlier. So not quite sure how am I going to water these mushrooms. That's one bag down. Going to spray the logs now. The logs are underneath the two deer heads. Did you ever see that Far Side where the two young deer, put their heads in deer plaques and stick their heads out from the trees to try to tease their mom? I always thought that was a funny one. I haven't looked in the bathroom yet. I'm a little scared to look in there. I'm mopping Jeff's floor. I don't know what this is exactly that it's growing on. Is Jeff a weird dude? Is that what we're after today? Finding out? I think so. I like him. He's an interesting dude. I'm lucky. I have interesting friends in my life. That's for sure. Jeff definitely falls in that category of interesting friends. People that kind of follow their interests, desires. Soaking the log. That's a Judas Priest song, I think. Soaking the log. Spray in the log. Soak in the log. We're done here. Didn't even go in his bedroom. Jeff, I didn't go in your bedroom. Not gonna go. Boundary. I have boundaries. I think your apartment looks good, buddy. I hope you had a good weekend. Now can look into his neighbor's kitchen. Sort of a rear window thing going on right now. Nice couple having dinner. Brooklyn couple. Regular people getting along. Doesn't seem like it's that hard for them. Well, it's hard to say goodbye. I feel like I've been through so much. It's been quite a journey. I'm going to leave the keys in his apartment. Jeff, I hope your mushrooms live to be 198. I never know what to call the other person on this show. Is it my other wheel? Second out of 3 wheels? You guys being the third? Regardless, my guest this week is Jeff Zimmerman. At the beginning there was me obviously doing him a huge favor and watching his mushrooms for him over the course of a weekend back in March, I think. But it was my pleasure because Jeff always invites me over to eat and hang out with people, and it's great to have a cool, talented, sure-footed neighbor like him. I would say in the transactional economy of friendship, ours is a healthy exchange of ideas, favors, and commiseration. But Jeff's a real heavyweight, though, and it was an honor to have him on. He's a storyteller, stand-up, and the producer-performer behind And I Am Not Lying, a variety show that combines stand-up, storytelling, burlesque, sideshow, and music on the second Friday of every month at UCB East. Can you tell I am reading this? I shouldn't have brought it up. Anyway, he's won a bunch of Moth StorySLAMS, and you may recognize him from stuff on This American Life, the Moths podcast, and there's some things he's written for the Paris Review Daily. He also teaches a storytelling class, I should mention this, and it gets going Sunday, the 5th here. It's a 6-week workshop for experienced comics and storytellers, and he teaches the structure and technique of comedic storytelling. So if you're interested, go to his site and contact him. It's jeffzimmerman.com//contact. I never know which way the slash goes. I'm sorry, Jeff. He didn't tell me to read that even. I'm sorry for the not knowing which slash is which. Hey, listen, how are you guys, though? I'm releasing this on a Saturday morning just to see what happens, and it feels right to me because I used to be way into public radio Saturday mornings. I'd listen to Car Talk and Only a Game and Wait, Don't Tell Me. And if I got up early enough, sometimes I would catch a show called Living on Earth. It's an environmental news magazine that some stations used to carry. And little did I know I'd end up working for it later in life and then having a nervous breakdown, storming out, and hiding at my then-girlfriend's condemned house in Somerville, Boston, where I'd come to a real bottom, making a model car, drinking in my bathrobe, and then smashing the model car because I got all done and I found out it was missing the passenger side piece. And that's when Dad came to pick me up and moved me back to Illinois. And my rebirth into a life working customer service at a UPS store could truly begin. I think I worked my way up to assistant manager. Anyway, that was a long time ago, though. And here I am now. The circle of love and laughter has gone around a few times. So, can I ask you guys a favor? I know you listen to lots of podcasts and everybody asks you to go on iTunes and review their show, but that would be a really big help if you do that for me. You could also support the show at patreon.com/yarnworthpod, but I don't know which slash again. But I realize it's a monthly recurring thing and it's a bit of a commitment, so I'm trying to work out some other veiled form of digital patronage, also known as begging. You could just Venmo me some money, and I'll use it for food, pay off my Discover card, and say it's to support the show, which it really is because I am the show, and I went in way over my head to make this thing happen. But no guilt. I'm not trying to guilt you, even though that's what I run on. But it's worth. I don't want to make you run on it. Jesus, some of you are doing okay without the guilt. I I don't want your money, though. Seriously, go away. I mean, come back. Come on back. I'm not serious. I missed you. Regardless, what's your yarnworth.com. Check us out there for more details, and you can hear about music used in the show and check out the artists that make this thing sound alive. Oh, and at YarnworthPod on Twitter. It's been pretty plug-heavy, I realize, and I will cut it back next time. Oh, in the end of the show, I want to say this. I play one of the stories Jeff told on the Moth. And so with thanks and attribution to the Moth podcast there, that's from their show the week of August 5th, 2015. Go there, themoth.org/podcast. Again, with the slashes. Do you guys know? How do you know which is which? Oh, Andy, let it go. Anyway, off we go. Here's me and Jeff talking about people who don't wring out the kitchen sponge, and we get way deep into the nature of storytelling and him cooking me the mushrooms I helped him grow. And what are these called again?
Blue oyster mushrooms. So what we're doing is a technique called sweating the mushrooms, where they're delicious with just some garlic and olive oil, but what you want to do is heat them to a point where they will suddenly kind of, all the water they're holding, they'll just release, and then they'll be ready to absorb the flavor of the garlic and the olive oil.
I have to admit, I watered yours. Mm-hmm. I watched your ceiling fall in.
Uh-huh.
And then I saw you post that you were eating them.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, all that work.
What do you mean?
You just ate them. You ate all the mushrooms.
I
thought you were going to make like a garden or something. I don't know. I thought, but that's okay. Like, it's okay to just eat something.
Well, what else would I be doing with them?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, you just gotta, because they go bad really fast.
Yeah.
They don't have a long shelf life. Like, when I got home, they had dropped their spores. Like, there was all this powder, which means they just basically jizzed. Just, and at that point, they're going to begin to rot very quickly.
Oh, okay.
So these are here to be eaten, to help the mycelium reproduce. They're the fruits that animals eat, but they also are the pollinators of sorts. I mean, so they would drop spores that the wind would carry or whatever, and they would plant and kind of colonize.
But are you growing another batch?
Oh, yeah. I'll be right back on the...
And so you'll keep eating them, or what's the...
Yeah, I'm going to keep eating them.
I'm curious because this is like something I would never do for myself. Mm-hmm. And I kind of wish I was more... It feels very like... It's a gardening mentality, and I've never had a gardening mentality. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good, healthy... What? Is they burnt?
Well, they're going to start burning here, yeah.
What do you need to do?
Turn the heat down a little. I don't know if they...
Are we going to eat them?
You're going to eat them. You can have them both.
Okay. I'm not going to hallucinate, right?
No. All right. You hear that?
Yeah.
All right, I've just put garlic and olive oil on these. And I'm going to dish them onto the plate. There you go.
Can I use the fork?
Yeah.
Why am I asking? It's my apartment.
Your apartment, it's your fork.
Here, let's sit. Oh, look, you're so considerate. You did the dish. It's like meat.
Yeah.
It's like a steak.
Yeah, isn't it crazy?
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. Grew them in the bathroom.
See that? You shouldn't have said that. I was thinking about that.
Yeah. I mean, I took them out if I had to, I took them out if I was going to be spending any meaningful time there. Oh my God. Yeah. Something about
Holy shit.
Yeah, something about the garlic and the olive oil kind of brings the natural flavor alive,
I was thinking I'll have to just kind of humor Jeff and be like, oh, these are great.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're really enjoying this. Yeah.
Like, I could eat a whole plate of these, but that's do you get sick?
Nah.
Mushrooms are probably good for you.
Yeah.
It really does taste like meat. This tastes like a meat. And not like a chicken, like a pork or a beef, more beefy.
Yeah, it's firm. It's fleshy.
Wow, dude, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. They wouldn't be here without you. Might not have a bathroom either.
You came in and you cooked the mushrooms.
Yeah, that I grew, that you nurtured. We co-nurtured those mushrooms.
We did co-nurture them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you went out of your way and gave them some care. You should at least experience the very best they have to offer.
Do you have like a vision board?
No.
Do you have like goals?
Like
do you write out your goals?
I do not.
Yeah.
I did. I took a class in doing it, and I kind of fell off. Feel terrible. It makes me feel terrible. I wrote way too many goals, and I couldn't do them all.
That's what I do. Is I make too many. I think. Yeah. I'll show you. Let me show you my system.
Yeah.
I'll show you the Farnsworth system. This is an.
Grab some water.
Yeah.
You have a very minimalist setup here.
And I like that. I don't like clutter.
Yeah.
So this is I write on these things. They're dry erase.
Oh wow, dry erase. It's like a temporary dry erase board.
But I end up just taking them down and replacing them because they don't really erase that well.
Yeah, I have giant Post-it notes this size.
Oh.
They're great.
But what I do with the list thing, this has been up for like a month. Mm-hmm. It's too much for one list. I need smaller lists. Mm-hmm. I guess I don't have them. There was one point where I had these up. I had like 5 of these up. I've taken them down. I'm chilling out.
Sit here?
No, go ahead.
Good bed, Andy. Comfortable.
Yeah.
We have very different aesthetics.
Yeah, well, you have. I was noticing that when I was in your apartment. It seemed like it'd been lived in for 5 years. Not in like a rundown way, just like you have shit. You got plants, you got a rug, you got a couch. It's like. I don't know. It seems populated.
It's populated. Well, the other thing is that I am a clutter collector, and I also love just like kitsch and knickknacks and weird objects. And my uncle owned an antique shop and junk store when I was growing up.
Really?
Yeah, and I used to help him do auctions and stuff, and he would buy, kind of like Storage Wars. He'd buy a storage unit and then auction it all off. Or other people would come to him and be like, my mom just passed away and I got to get rid of the contents of the house. And so he'd auction it off and give him a piece of the total. I just grew up like going around to houses and finding weird shit and going to his store and like, what's in here today? And, he had the world's biggest Baby Ruth bar in his store. It was huge. I was
like a real one that you could eat?
Yeah, but I wasn't allowed to open it. I was like, what is the point of having the world's biggest Baby Ruth bar if you don't saw yourself off a slice from time to time,
Yeah.
And he's diabetic, but
That's funny.
But he was like, nah, if you open it, then it's like not worth as much. And I was like, ugh. But I remember, at his shop.
How big is the world's biggest Baby Ruth bar? Like 6 feet? 5 feet?
Longer than that table.
So that's like...
Maybe 2-3 of those tables.
Wow.
It's huge. I mean, I was much smaller when I saw it, of course, so I don't... It's
Where
hard.
did you grow up?
Norfolk, Virginia. And he was in Smithfield, Virginia. Rural, little town. I remember in his shop one time he had the world's biggest Baby Ruth bar. He had an Asteroids video game machine.
Yeah, Asteroids.
He had like 4 Elvira Mistress of the Dark cardboard cutouts standing around the place. It was dimly lit, and then he had this peach basket full of cassette tapes. And from it, I harvested the Jungle Brothers' first album.
Yeah, I remember Red for the Blood, Black's for the Man,
Green. Yeah.
Stands for the Man.
Yeah, but this was like Behind the Bush, it was called, so it was even more like primal than that album. And yes, great. I'm gonna go home and listen to Jungle Brothers now, but yeah. So I just gathered stuff and bring it to my place,
But it doesn't look. What I was trying to say is, it didn't look cluttered. It just looks like you have this curated life around you.
Curated. It's an interesting word.
Yeah, like I don't know how to describe it, but it's like some people surround themselves with things, whereas I think I wouldn't call this. Like, what would you call this? This is minimalist.
Very minimal. Yeah, very minimal. To me, I really wanted to settle. I would like put a lot of work and money into settling my apartment because, I wanted to make a home that was mine and did not have the vestiges of, the one I shared with my ex-wife for several years.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, I didn't even realize what a psychic weight it was to be in that apartment for a year after she left.
Oh yeah, you were still in there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh right.
Mm-hmm.
You're like living in a crime scene.
An emotional crime scene. Yeah.
Did you guys decorate together? Like, did you? Was
Somewhat.
It a team?
It was sort of a team thing, but I mean, I just have a very strong aesthetic sensibility that I cannot help but broadcast. I mean, probably Tom Waits said the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Oh, that's true.
And I can't see it, but I'll bet that there is probably a through line from the way I make posters for my show to the t-shirts I choose to wear to the way I do comedy to the way I've decorated my house. It probably all feels like of a piece, I would think. I don't know. You would have to tell me. But so I did most of the decorating in our place, but it was still done with her approval or with her, I didn't put up anything that didn't make her smile, And then I could just only see her absence when she left, I mean, I came home from this trip to Seattle and the dining room table was gone. And all of her pictures were gone from the wall, and all of her shit was gone. And then I found one drawer full of her running socks, these little, like a girl's dainty little ankle socks you would run with. And they were so cute, and I just cried into that drawer full of socks. Dude. Yeah. And I found, it's the grief, look, it's a grief process that is a cousin to losing a person to, them dying. I mean, this is a joke I had that
What is?
The surprise divorce.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
It's grief.
Yeah, it is. It almost would have been better. If she'd have died, then at least she wouldn't have died because she didn't want to be around me anymore. Fucks me up knowing she's living her life. She got a child. She's over in New Jersey somewhere.
Wow. Just
walking around.
Yeah.
Doing shit. That fucks me up. And, well, I found I just would get tired of feeling it, and then the days between times that I say cried in public would get more long, would get more of a stretch.
You'd cry in public?
Oh, yeah.
Like on the train?
Yeah, or in the coffee shop, or...
Just like your laptop?
At the laptop. Big laptop crier, yeah.
What does that look like? You're just sitting there in front of your laptop?
Looks like me, who, by the way, if you're hearing this, I regularly get mistaken for the bouncer at the clubs I'm performing at. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I would just start crying. Man, fucking Liz Phair would come on at the coffee shop. Done. And it's even worse when you try to hold it back because it makes it crazier.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liz Phair's divorce song is the most... One time I had to listen to the divorce song for 6 hours in my house and write my journal and just cried out.
What's it called?
The divorce song.
That's what it's called?
Yeah. The lyrics are just so spot on.
Yeah.
And it's a good song. I mean, just like the sound. Even if you didn't speak English, you'd be like, play that shit again,
Yeah.
And, just the fury of it. And it captures like how... these monumental feelings come out in these petty ways, And it's like, because it can get to a point where, like, the way that somebody doesn't squeeze the sponge out is a legitimate sign of how little they respect you.
Yes, that's true. What did you say? Monumental things.
Monumental things come out in these petty ways.
That is so true.
It's
so primal, some of it.
Yeah, well, because it's not about the sponge. It's about I have a way of living that I continue to tell you about and you continue to not respect. And if you really respected me, you would squeeze out the sponge without me having to ask.
Is that a line from the song? Or is
No, I'm drawing that from a different doomed relationship, but that was a fight we had one time.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. It's not about the sponge. It's about your understanding what's important to me.
Yeah. What's the response you get back from that? I'm sorry, I just forget.
Oh, I was the person who didn't squeeze the sponge out.
Oh. You seem like you would squeeze the sponge out. Or you forget.
You know what? I would squeeze the sponge out, but then on the other hand, man, I'm obsessive, and I'm in some ways a workaholic. So I would be obsessed with booking my show, writing bits, making a poster, getting out there, and just forget to squeeze the sponge out and feel like an asshole.
You're thinking about yourself.
Yeah.
Did you get called selfish?
Oh, yeah. I got to hear a lot of things about myself. To be called selfish by a selfish person is the crazy making. And I was. You know? And it's like, it puts you on the defensive to say, no, I am not. Or, well, look at you. You know what I mean? And like, there's no response to that doesn't make you nuts, you know? And I was told that I was selfish or I wasn't thinking about, you know, whatever, because I was pursuing stand-up. You know, I got to hear, one of the things I got to hear about myself was, what kind of a person just leaves a perfectly good job to go do this thing that has no path? There's no path. Do you really think that somebody's just going to come out of the darkness and recognize you and give you some career? Even if you do, you're going to be on the road all the time. You know, I am a practical person. I am at heart an old Chinese woman, and you don't just go do stand-up. You know, I don't even like it. She said, I don't even like stand-up. And it is an embarrassment that you would do that bit about a shrimp falling out of your ass night after night.
Oh, yeah.
And this is when I knew that I knew it was over, like really over, and that I was a comic, because my response to, I can't believe you would talk about a shrimp falling out of your ass in front of all these people, in front of strangers, and then I have to sit there was, well, fuck you, that's my closer.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. It's hard on people who care about you to hear you throw yourself under the bus. Maybe it's, I don't know if it's people who care about you, but I've had that similar thing expressed to me, like, do you really have to say that? Or it's like you're humiliating yourself and it hurts them, hurts their pride or something.
Yeah, well, on the other hand, Erica watched me talk about a shrimp falling out of my ass in front of a large crowd at the Black Cat this weekend, and was proud of it, so.
She got to know you on those terms too, though, right?
I didn't become a comic. I was a comic. Yeah.
Oof.
Is that a big deal?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Those things that she said, it's weird. I've had all those thoughts myself.
Oh yeah, no, I have them too.
So, but when someone says it back to you, it's like, you're a smart person. I'm sure you had all those thoughts yourself. So she just, it's like, of course you know all that. You have all those doubts. If you're, I would guess you're not, you knew this stuff. So you don't need that coming back at you.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy making, but on the other hand, you don't need it coming back. But I think towards the end of, when a person is getting ready to do a very big, crazy thing that is very hard, like just leave you coldly, they need to kind of achieve escape velocity. So they have to say or do some things to self-justify in order to get out.
Yes. Escape velocity.
Yeah.
That is a good term. 2 terms we've had tonight. I don't think we got this one on tape, but accomplishment hangover.
Achievement hangover.
Achievement hangover.
Yeah, I'm having major achievement hangover right now. Yeah.
From your show.
Yeah.
And something velocity.
Escape velocity.
Escape velocity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For your listeners, an achievement hangover is when you do something big that you're very proud of and was quite an accomplishment. And then you're like, well, what the fuck do I do now? Just put on the same shoes and go to my same dumbass job? Like, it hasn't changed your life at all, but you did it, you know?
I had a professor, I was in a PhD program.
Oh, no shit. For what?
Writing, creative writing, literature. But, that's a whole other story. But this professor that I had, it was kind of a mentor. He was a really guy who saved me from my parents' bedroom. I mean, I was living in my parents' basement. He heard me read and he liked me and encouraged me to apply. Anyway, I hadn't had anyone express interest in my writing, but his definition of narrative of a story was always just that you went somewhere. Yeah. That was it. Because, I mean, it's somebody who's really into avant-garde literature, and narrative's a hard thing to nail down, but That's okay with me. That's a story.
Mm-hmm.
You went somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you find that just doesn't work for performing a story?
Oh, for me,
what do you tell people? Like,
when I teach,
I want your free class.
I'll give you I mean, yeah, I can run it down in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, I tell people before they spend money, like, you don't need to take a class. There are other ways to do this. I never took a class, and I'm teaching a class. So, however, this does give you the tools that you might need in an efficient way. You know, it's up to you to use the tools. And it's going to take you a very long time to get good with the tools, but I can give them to you, you know? I tell people that there needs to be a structure to your story. And I say it basically boils down to 5 things.
Yeah.
You need, go, get, return. Establish your character. Who are you at the beginning of this thing? We got to know. What do you need? What do you desire? All of Western storytelling is about the fulfillment of desire, no matter how ridiculous or fruitless it ends up being.
Yeah.
You go. It's the journey. You go. You leave the house. You go after that thing. You get it. It's a boring story if you get it and it's everything you wanted. You get it and you had to overcome hurdles along the way in order to get there, you know? Or... What's the way you're laughing?
I'm laughing because I have a story that fits none of these complications, and I want to share it with you.
Or you get it, and you can't handle what you got, you know?
Okay.
And the way that you get it changes what you want, so when you get what you want, you no longer want it, or you get it, and it's not what you thought you wanted, or whatever.
Okay.
And then you return, a changed person. The journey has changed you. You know, half of the Odyssey is the journey home. He already won or lost the fucking battle, and he's just trying to get home. And then he finds out somebody fucked his wife the whole time. You know what I mean? Like it.
Well, no.
What?
She had suitors.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
She fended him off.
But I'm just saying, like, it's not like shit was cool at home for him to come back to. Home done changed too.
Right.
So his idea of home changed while he was off doing this thing. So it turns out that his dream of home was not what he thought it would be.
Well, and he comes back disguised.
Yeah.
Nobody even knows.
Yeah.
But that's such an external story, too. It's not like in the Odyssey you get a lot of Homer's inner life.
No, but I'm just saying, like, the story can be internal.
Yeah,
It can be an internal journey.
Right.
And I just tell people you need to establish character with jokes. You need to make, self-deprecating jokes about yourself. Who are you? What kind of person are you?
Okay.
You have to show self-knowledge. You have to take responsibility for your fallacy. The best comedy stories are fool's errands, you know? I mean, I had a band with 2 chickens that played toy pianos. And I wanted to go on tour in Japan.
Wait a minute, okay. We'll say it again. The 5 things
you need, go, get, return.
You need, go, get, return.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my story. I'm not a good storyteller,
That's okay.
First of all, I say that.
Uh-huh.
But I have a lot of things that happen to me that I find frustrating because I know they don't fit the, hey, this is a crazy thing that happened, here's a climax, and here's the denouement, and here's the resolution. I have shit that happens that I'm just like, that happened, I am different now. I can't communicate this to anybody. It was so absurd. That's the arc of a lot of my stories. Right.
Well, I would say that you can find you have to supply those things.
Can we find it?
Yeah, let's find it. Let's do it. Let's do a quick one. Give me.
Atlantic Center.
Uh-huh.
You know, we have that experience. It's for people that don't know New York. It's a massive terminal, a lot of trains, Long Island Railroad, a lot of underground halls. Often they're musical performers.
Right. It's the Grand Central Station of Brooklyn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. There's a lot of musical performers. There's been a guy there forever. I haven't seen actually lately.
Is it the fucking didgeridoo guy? I hate that guy. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know how you describe a didgeridoo filling up this huge hallway, everyone walking. It's just like the walls themselves become part of the instrument. It's like wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, it sounds like hundreds of didgeridoos.
It's so loud, right?
I mean, it's actually fulfilling the purpose that the Aborigines designed it for, because they would play them in canyons and create these huge, echoing, massive... Yeah, anyway. I mean, they play them out in the bush too, but like in a canyon or in a cave or in a slot canyon, you get this otherworldly, tremendous. So anyway, go on.
Oh no, that's interesting to know that. Well, so it's resonating in there, and I've walked past him several times, and I always kind of like, whenever I walk by him, I think he's in this zone. Like he's clearly been doing this for minutes, hours. He's just on another fucking planet. And I don't know if he has music like accompany him. It's just this didgeridoo or not, but
he'll have percussion that he controls with his feet.
Yeah. So, but to walk through this is like you walk through this all like sensory overload of it. Just feels like you were on acid for a little like short 45-second. I get caught in the details. This is my problem.
Okay.
But one time I was doing it, and I walked past, and there's another guy just blowing a whistle at him. Like blowing a referee whistle. This is a crazy person, clearly. But he's blowing as if he's like it's a foul. Like the didgeridoo guy has fouled him in some way. He's like communicating. You're rolling your eyes at me.
No, I'm not.
Like I'm not doing it well.
No, it's fine. Keep going. You stop beating yourself up. You're not done yet. It's not
That's
time.
part of I have to beat myself.
Okay.
No, but I just wanted to. Basically, it was like I walked past this, and it was so fucking profound because it was like one man with a whistle, another guy like blowing on a thing, and I was like, why is nobody stopping? And like looking at this? Everyone's just keeping on like walking by, but it's like I don't know. It kind of fucked me up. Like I'm like, wow, how can this not have like stopped everyone? It was just so absurd. That's not the real point of it, I guess, but it was just that I don't know. The moment I had was kind of internal with it, and I felt like I was a different person after I saw that.
How did it change you?
It made me not able to talk about it. Like I don't know how I'm different afterwards. But there's no climax.
Well,
and I'm probably trying to. It sounds like I'm trying to make it into more of a thing than it is. But it was just like I find that so many things like that are just debilitatingly absurd. That's what happened to me, and like. I don't know, I can't, I find that frustrating, because I find stories, that's life to me. There's no fucking climax to a lot of things.
Right.
They just happen, and they're like, it's bald, and you have to kind of like, you have to tweak it and like, sensationalize it to make people want you to do that, to tell a story. And I find that frustrating, because that's not how I experience stories. I mean, that's not how you experience stories, or that's not how you experience life? Life.
Well, so I would say that storytelling is a structure you impose on life to make it make sense. Everybody knows that life is inherently chaos. All this shit happens and then you die. You know, maybe therapy allows you to see patterns that you are contributing to and can break, you know, or moments in your own personal narrative that were changing for you or whatever. But really, it's just all this shit that happens, and then it's over.
But the story's not over.
Oh, your story's not over?
No.
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
The story is over, and that's what happened.
Oh, no, but keep going.
But then I keep trying to tell people about this in my stand-up for months. And it's on my note card, didgeridoo whistling guy. I keep trying to tell this story over and over. And sometimes people relate to it, sometimes they don't. And now I'm here trying to tell you. And I see you as a storyteller, someone who I think is very good at it.
Thank you.
You're losing interest in it. I see myself wandering off into the little details. And I'm like, well, you know, I don't know, it's frustrating.
Well, don't beat yourself up. It's okay that it's frustrating. Life is frustrating. You're trying to take something that is inherently senseless and make sense out of it. That is a maddening process.
What about what about that? You don't get sidetracked when you
Oh, absolutely, every time. I mean, every story I tell I've been working on for 7 years.
But it's digression that's everything.
I would say, I teach differently. I say that you need to find your inner North Star you need to distill down your desire, the thing that you are sailing towards and looking for, and that is the kind of those are the train tracks that you are moving through the story on. Christopher Columbus sailed by the North Star. I mean, he did not find India, but he found something. But we need to, in order for the story to be engaging in a way as a story, I would say, if you were taking my class, I would say what you need is to go through and clearly identify your desire, what it is you wanted out of...
Telling that?
Well, or is it a meta story? Is the story about you telling this thing? Or is the story about you having this experience and this somehow changing you?
I don't know, because what I saw in that moment was two kind of different, I don't want to say crazy men. One was clearly schizophrenic, the whistle guy with the little whistle. I've heard later that's a thing. A friend of mine who's a shrink says that that's a thing, that sometimes people who are schizophrenic will just blow a whistle in public. It's like a reaction.
Well, I got hit in the face with an unopened soda can by a schizophrenic in the Atlantic terminal.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was a whole deal.
But I just felt like, those are two men older than me they're kind of like reacting to the world, and that these are the ways they've chosen to blow through things, and I guess I'm blowing through the world, blowing through my instrument at the world too, in a way, when I'm talking to people, but...
Well then, okay, now we have the seeds here. We got seeds that we can start to align a little bit. This doesn't have to be... Listen, first of all, this is not journalism.
Yeah.
This is absolutely not journalism. You are entitled to make up as much shit as you want and tell it like a story.
I don't like that.
Well, I'm not telling you to like it. I'm telling you you're just allowed to. You don't have to do it. But you have to, for this to resonate with people, it has to connect to something that is going on with them or has gone on with them in some way or in their lives, so that they find meaning in this ridiculous anecdote or this basically image that you're painting.
Yeah.
So I tell people in class, we put up a thing like that, and I say, what did you want? And we write it down on the top. And then underneath it, I write, so that. So you got what if you get this, what do you think that's going to do for you? Well, it may help me understand myself better. Why do you want to understand yourself better? Well, because I feel lost and confused. Why do you feel lost and confused? What does the absence of that lost and confused be? You know what I mean? You just drill down. It's painful. It's like
you're talking to the pillow.
It's painful, and it's a short therapy session, But you ultimately arrive at this. So you write "so that" under every answer until you cannot do it anymore. And somewhere around the last third of that pile is...
What's the question that you're saying? So that?
What did you want? In this story, what did you want?
Okay.
So what did you want?
I think that's the problem with the story.
Is you don't know what you wanted?
I didn't go into wanting anything.
Mm-hmm.
It just fucking hit me. Walking through this terminal. Yeah, it just like a climax-less thing.
Well, it can. The thing is you can decide where you place it on a timeline as a story to make it into either the inciting incident or the climax, depending on.
This is storytelling to me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to fucking tell you something. Cop cars are going by in the background. Ambulances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so maybe you use that event in a story where, okay, the story isn't really about that event at all, but it does illustrate some element of what it was you were trying to say. So for me, I'm always telling people, figure out what you wanted And not just like I wanted to go to the store and get some milk. What were you going to do with that milk? What are you making with that milk? Well, I'm going to make an omelet. Why are you going to make an omelet? Because some girl spent the night last night. Why are you making her an omelet?
Okay.
Well, because I want to be a breakfast, spend the night, have breakfast dude. Why do you want to be like that? Why not cab fare? Well, because I really want her to like me. Why do you want her to like me?
Yeah.
Keep drilling in. So then the stakes are, if I don't get back from the store with that gallon of fucking milk before she wakes up, she's going to slip away.
Uh-huh.
And all of this will have been meaningless. But if I can just make her an omelet before she sees that I'm gone, thinks I left, and then leaves and is sad and dejected, then it's going to be okay. So it's not about the gallon of milk. It's about what that gallon of milk is really, really going to do for you. So then we're on board, because whether or not you are, say, lactose intolerant, you got, holy shit, man, he has got to get that milk. And then we really feel it when the line is crazy at the store. Or when a crazy person keeps getting in your way. And because everything that makes the journey take longer raises the stakes. So in the story that I tell about my groceries on the subway,
Yeah.
it isn't about personal space, or it's about needing the world to be gentle with me when I feel so broken, and going home with a pint of ice cream that is going to make me feel a little bit better at a time when nothing can make me feel better but time. So then when I get in the screaming match with this lady, and she's so nice in the shittiest, meanest way possible, so she's giving me what I want in a way that I do not fucking need right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like you kind of load that ice cream with such significance that losing it or it being gone tears the world apart. And that's how, and to be honest, I mean, in truth, I'd been doing that bit for 2 years before I even got divorced. It wasn't even about that.
Yeah.
But I just ate a lot of Ben & Jerry's when I was left alone. And when the producer of the Moth said, "Oh my God, this screaming match on the subway is gold, you got to turn it into something. Maybe was there something in the bag that meant something?" And I was like, yeah, I got that. Because I had this bit about doing the sad King Arthur over the garbage with ice cream.
Yes, with the pouring it out.
Yeah.
The sad King Arthur.
So then I just said, well, and then so I took these disparate things in my like it didn't even, none of the stuff in that story even occurred at the same linear time frame as it was presented.
How do you frame it now? Do you say it's in the context of having just learned you're getting divorced?
Yeah. I say I was going through a surprise divorce, and when I need grace and patience from the world and I'm broken on the inside, what I do to seek comfort is I straddle a garbage can and I take a pint of Ben & Jerry's and I work the spoon all the way down into the bottom. And if it's just the right temperature, you can pull the whole thing out in a move I call the sad King Arthur. And you eat it all, and nobody understands you or cares, or you don't even feel better, but you can go to sleep. And it's important to get your rest at a time like that. So it's a misdirect for a joke, but
Did you tell this before you got divorced?
Oh yeah, for 2 years.
How did you frame it then?
It was just this crazy thing that happened to me on the subway in New York nuts. Somebody just knocked my groceries out of my bag, and then I got in a yelling match with this lady. And it was good enough to be a closer and good enough to keep around.
Yeah.
But by front-loading it with the surprise divorce and needing that ice cream so bad, it gives it a weight and a resonance. And, you know what I mean? It gives you a reason to be there. So
I think I have a philosophical difference.
Okay.
With you.
What's the philosophy?
I think this is the issue.
What?
I don't think that there has to be a telos, a goal. There doesn't have to be a full catharsis. That, to me, my favorite kind of story is one that is just, you were meaningless. Not to be kind of anarchistic, but there was no meaning going in and there's no meaning going out. And yet you still feel like you went somewhere. You can go through something, I don't know, but your story still means something to me. In fact, I heard that story, maybe I don't know if you want me to, or if I can, if you let me, I'll play it. And
It's fine. Yeah.
But when I heard it first, it was you didn't. I don't think you had the divorce thing in there.
No, I didn't.
So it was totally just. I haven't even heard it in the context of divorce. Like, she doesn't need. It didn't need it for me for that moment. I had a moment of that story without knowing that.
Right, and because the thing is then the story is about getting some fucking respect from the people around you.
Okay.
You know? So what did I want, without the divorce element? What do I want? I want some goddamn respect from this animal city.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I still have a desire.
Yeah.
And what I would say is that the stories that resonate, that you repeat to people, or that people repeat to you, or that you really connect to, whether or not the desire is fulfilled or is consciously presented, it's there, pulling it along. It's the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
You know? You gotta have a MacGuffin, if not an actual quest.
Well, the MacGuffin in, like, Hitchcock is like, it doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't, but it gives you a reason to go somewhere.
Okay, yeah.
The MacGuffin is, we got to get across town to get the suitcase. What's in the suitcase? The MacGuffin. I don't know, but we are at least in a chase for an important suitcase.
Right.
Everything has to hang off of that.
Okay.
You know? So I would say that something where life is meaningless, we have some meaningless encounters, and then we are still meaningless at the end of it, just has a lower...
No, that's not what I'm saying.
What?
That wasn't what I was saying.
Okay.
I think what I'm trying to translate to you is the difference between writing something and telling an oral story.
Okay.
I think that's kind of part of what the issue is. Because I want to be able to do out loud what I can do on the paper sometimes.
Well, I think, I just think that people, when they are live, they want it to go somewhere. And if they don't feel like they're going somewhere, then they check out.
Yeah, totally.
So you got to get them on
There's
the boat.
Expectations. There's genre expectations about what you're doing. And the Moth even has its own genre, I would say.
Right. And I would say that now that I've really been doing the Moth a lot, I'm kind of breaking away from it a little bit, but I still have it. Obviously I still came up through it, so I have it at my core. I really like doing stuff that works as stand-up or at the Moth.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is that for this didgeridoo guy, like when people use the word story, they use it in all these different ways. It's like this umbrella term that can mean like 10 different things, right?
It can, yeah. Because often after my act, people are like, I love your stories. And I'm like, that was just a bunch of jokes. There was no story. Right.
And sometimes a story is like, I just saw this thing. But it's your inner monologue about the thing. Kyle Kinane is a really great, I saw this crazy thing, and you go on this crazy journey with him, which happened entirely inside of his mind. Thank you.
Yeah.
And for me, I like some plot. I want to go somewhere. I want to end up somewhere different than we started. And I love Kyle Kinane. It's one of my favorite comics, but that's just not entirely what I do.
Okay. I think I've forgotten in that story what I was going through. Mm-hmm. That's all informing what happened.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying is we know what you're going through.
I don't even remember what I wanted. It was just what it was. Yeah.
Remember what you were going through, where you were either physically going for what reason, where were you going in your head or in your heart. Why does this stick to you other than the fact that it just looks crazy?
I think I might have been going to do stand-up. And I think that might have been partly why it struck me, is because you're fucking surrounded by people trying to perform. And, or people just cracking. Like the whistle guy had cracked. He's blowing a referee whistle.
Yeah.
Over and over for a good several minutes.
Yeah.
And the didgeridoo guy, it's arguable whether or not he's cracked. I don't know.
He's at least presenting it in a polished form.
There are ways of dealing with the city.
Yeah.
There are different ways of dealing with the city via blowing through things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if there was a ram's horn, like, I don't know, maybe that would have been the third. If I would have seen someone blowing a ram's horn. I think if on the way to stand up, if I just saw like a dozen people blowing through different instruments.
But so what I'm saying is like you have an opportunity to authentically structure the story here by talking about where you were going to go. So you're going to do stand-up. Why are you going to go do stand-up?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I don't know. That's the thing. Why am I doing this?
Well, why are you going to do stand-up? What is going to happen after you get off stage? Do you know it's going to be a good show? Do you know it's going to be a shitty show? Are you going to do stand-up at Bunga's Den when it's 1,000,000 degrees in there?
Yeah, I mean, you go for relief. I always feel relief after I do stand-up.
Do you feel... I mean, for me, if this were me telling that story, maybe I would say something like, was on my way to do stand-up. I had been... And then I would do like a series of jokes or bits about where I was. What do I want to get from stand-up? How is it completely not working for me? Or maybe it is working.
Everything that you just said about how your ex-wife said that to you, those doubts, all that was in my head.
Okay, so you have all of these doubts.
I drop out of a PhD program. I drop... Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I'm a 38-year-old man. This is a stupid thing I'm doing. There is no clear path to this.
Right.
But I'm obsessed with it and I love it.
Yeah.
And have been for years, you know. It wasn't like I just woke up one day and decided to do stand-up.
Right.
So that's going on in the background. And it's giving nothing back to me.
Yeah.
You know, so suppose from like a capitalist viewpoint. But I'm getting something back. So that's going on, probably.
Okay, so... Get a piece of paper and write down your state in the world. 38 years old, dropped out of PhD program, processing grief, dealing with...
How many years sober? Not too long.
Sobriety.
Yeah.
Dealing with, your meds or your shrink. You're doing stand-up because even if they don't laugh, you've accomplished something.
And I'm doing a bit about being sexually abused.
Okay.
And I'm often, it's like walking the plank. When I'm on my way to a gig, I'm often going, I'm not going to do that bit. I'm not going to do that bit. And I'm up there, and here I am doing that bit.
So you have a sense of dangerous inevitability where you're, you know what I mean? Where like so you're going through all of this. So you could draw this parallel that here is this guy blowing this fucking didgeridoo. It is so annoying, but how many lives does he touch? Thousands a day.
Yeah.
Thousands of people experience his art, and he's just doing the show.
It's not even a show. It's like he's giving people a respite from their own thoughts. Because for this moment, you're walking down the hall, you're like, you can't think about it. You have this sensory oral overload.
He creates such a compelling performance.
By creating noise.
Yeah, by creating a noise that takes you out of your noise.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you are taken out of the noise that you've just articulated by this.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe you look forward to him every day, taking for that. Maybe you find it meditative, the 45 seconds you pass him.
Yeah.
You know?
There's an order to that.
Yeah. It's like it's weird that it's like a fucking prayer bowl on your way to catch the B train, you know?
A prayer bowl?
You know this.
Oh yeah, it is like that.
Yeah. And you find it a little calming in this insane city, and there's 100 people running around, but you can just like center on that, and you're like a little taken out of your inner noise.
Yeah.
And you're worried about your performance, but just for a moment you're not. You know? And then this fucking guy comes along with a whistle.
Yeah.
Totally destroying the meditative elements. But also doing such a brilliant piece of comedy. He is truly himself. He has accepted himself.
Yeah.
He has accepted his flaws.
Yeah.
He doesn't care what he can't drink.
Right.
None of it. He's just blowing that fucking whistle, and god damn it, there's never going to be any comedy purer than that. So you're simultaneously lifted up and destroyed. Do you see what I mean?
I do. Yeah.
That's the way that, if it were my story to tell,
right,
that would be a way that I would. And now, but you see, it does have that linear.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I do. A lot. I'm just processing it. Yeah. I feel like I just ran a joke, like a comic running a joke on somebody, which is annoying. I ran a story on you, which must happen to you.
I like doing it.
Which must happen to you a lot.
But I love doing it. I paid my rent with my class.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like work.
Yeah. You know, they often say, like, in therapy, the goal of therapy is, like, you're far away from this.
Oh, sorry.
But the goal, and we can talk, we got a lot here, so this will be good. But the goal is to help you find a narrative about the things that happen to you.
Yeah.
So in a way, what you're doing, not to tie a bow off on
No, it's fine, do it.
but I find this feels therapeutic, actually telling you about this story that it's so, there's so much chaos. And I can tell I'm trying to tell you about it, and you're losing interest, because I'm going off on these digressions, and I'm like, this isn't the story, this isn't the story. But it feels therapeutic to have you help me find it. So,
great.
I don't know, I hate the word,
It's okay.
It does feel like that. So maybe you're, I don't know, if it's, I think that's a real service.
Yeah, if it works, man. So, but yeah, because you're taking, it is to take find a narrative that works for you.
What about lying, though?
What do you mean lying?
Like, what about when you know that
Do
something... I mean, I get what you're saying, for the sake of the story.
Yeah.
But, like, my goal, like, I guess I'm of that, like, pretentious, maybe, like, Dogma 95 sort of movement of talking and storytelling and comedy. Like, the best is when you can take something and really just crop it out in this really verite kind of way. And not have to, like, do magic on it. That's the best. It's not that that's always possible, but...
Right. But what I would say is that...
You think it's okay to lie?
Well, the thing is it's such a gray area, because for one thing, if you're standing on a stage holding a microphone, a fact checker from the New Yorker is not going to process your act. You know what I mean? They're not going to go through and call everybody you talked about. And you have to think about what truth you're really trying to tell. And if you're communicating a greater truth about the sacrifices you've made in your life, the obstacles you've had to work to overcome or continuing to work to overcome, and the fact that you are kind of tilting these windmills with stand-up or whatever. I mean, that's very true. That's very real stuff. It's very deep truth. And then the fact that you're blown away by this magnetic absurdity that's unfolding in front of you. Who fucking cares if you consciously, you crop it, but it's not a perfect rectangle every time.
No.
And so in the cropping, you were choosing what to cut out.
Yeah.
So you're cutting out. So as long as you're cutting, why not make a collage? Because it is all still stuff from your life.
Yeah.
That you still thought or you still felt. When they say, truth in comedy or whatever, that's enough truth in comedy. It doesn't have to be, how many peas you ate the night before. I get that. Yeah. So just...
For me, the danger is I'm someone who has lied internally, at least, to himself. So that, it gets dangerous for someone like me, because I get taken away by my own self. I'm someone who's destroyed himself based on self-deception at one point. So it's not like my mind is trustworthy to some extent.
Right, but I would just say for it's okay to construct a narrative out of you're kind of making a cake or a collage out of the ingredients of your life.
Yeah.
All of these things happened. All of these things happened inside you or outside you. You are arranging and juxtaposing the order in which they happened, or perhaps the importance, right?
Yeah.
But it may be that in the act of arranging these, you do find a real importance and a real order. So who's to say that it's not true just because you went looking for it? You know what I mean?
I do.
Can you tell that I worked in PR for a while? Yeah. So you don't...
Because you're finding the story.
Yeah, you find the story and then you find the truth. You don't lie. You're never lying. You're finding a truth and making it fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, you're not sitting in front of a jury here. The point is that you are taking all of these truths about your past and your inner conflicts and processing them and then juxtaposing them with this ridiculous thing in a way that makes the ridiculous thing make sense. You know?
We did find the thing.
We found it?
I really do believe that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're good at this, man.
Hey, thanks.
Keep your applause going now for Jeff Zimmerman. Come on up, Jeff.
Hey guys. All right, look, I'm getting on the subway. I got 2 bags of groceries. It's raining. The bottom of these paper bags are wet. I need these groceries very badly. I'm a little nervous. I'm nervous because I need these groceries bad, but also they're from Whole Foods, so like, how am I gonna pay my rent? And I'm going through what I like to refer to as a surprise divorce. And I just need some grace and patience from the world right now. I am broken glass on the inside. And when I need grace and patience from the world, what I do when I know I'm not going to get it is I like to straddle a garbage can and take a pint of Ben & Jerry's and work the spoon down through the chocolate core of the Ben & Jerry's. And you can pull the whole thing out in a move that I call the sad King Arthur. And then you just eat it all, and you don't really get any grace or patience or understanding, but you can go to sleep. And I need that too. So the bags are straining, and I'm getting on the train, and it's crowded, and right as I'm reaching for the pole, this dude grabs my shoulder like I'm a door that has gotten stuck, and just goes, and shoves me out of the way, and the bags rip, and all my groceries, including my surrogate feelings, are just pinballing among everybody's dirty feet down the subway car. And I was just like, oh Lord, not now, you know? So I'm leaning over to pick up my groceries. I've got a messenger bag on, and it's coming up behind me like this. And I think it was touching the lady behind me a little bit because I just heard. And I looked back and somebody, I don't know, whatever. So I go to get my groceries again and again. And I know it was her because somebody goes, I said. And I turned and I looked. And there's a woman standing there holding the pole. And she's looking at me. And she's rolling her eyes. And I know what she's seeing because I know what I look like, all right? I'm 6'2". It doesn't matter if I eat that Ben & Jerry's or not. I'm a fight heavyweight. I tried on a cardigan one time, and it looked real stupid. So now I'm going to go with heavy metal T-shirts. So I kind of look like the social media guy for the Hells Angels. And she's just seeing this big oaf that doesn't care about anything but himself. And I just know I'm not going to get that patience, so I just went there in my head and decided I wasn't going to get it and said, oh, is my bag touching your arm like a tiny bit and like moderately inconveniencing you on the train right now? Is that why we're making these noises? And she answers my question by looking the subway ad in the eye, questioning my parenting and saying, some people weren't raised to respect anybody around them. They don't understand space or who's in it or who they're shoving or anything at all. And then right then, this little dude that saw the whole thing jumps up and goes, you need to shut the hell up, lady. You don't understand the challenges he's facing in his life right now. All right, because you crying about a bag touching you on the arm. He got $1,400 worth of soup cans at Ben & Jerry's rolling up and down the F train. You need to step back, get some perspective, see your place in this world, and then shut up. Am I wrong? Tease me up. And I'm standing here just adrenaline like this. And on the inside, I was like, oh, I would have phrased that so differently. But on the outside, I was like, yeah, that's basically how it went down. And she goes, oh, I see. Well, I happen to have several extra bags here. Would you like them? And so empathetic and understanding in such a hateful way. And I was like, yeah, that's super. I'll take your stupid bags. And she gets them out, and we're just cramming my groceries into the bags, making eye contact the whole time. Like this. She's like, take several extra. They're thin. I would hate for this to happen all over again later. Yeah, you know, that's a great idea, lady. I appreciate that. And we're just standing there like, for several stops, just hating each other with our breath, but on the inside. Thank you. You know, and then, ding, and she just stands up and looks at me and goes, have a blessed day, baby, and leaves. And the one person that understands me in this world I never saw again. And that's why I hate this city, but I can never leave it, because there are so many beautiful, beautiful blessings to be found in this town if you scrape the patina of sheer rage off of everybody and just look underneath. Thank you.
That's our show. I hope you enjoyed being in my apartment, lying on my bed, and hearing Jeff's take on stories like I did. Next week on the show is Mr. Tim Racine, who comes up with a potential new name for the show. I've done some emotional graffiti at some parties.
Like, what do you mean?
Just tagged it with my negativity. Like Andy was here.
Oh, and they know it.
Yeah.
Emotional graffiti, that should be the name of this podcast.
Emotional graffiti.
Or the name of this episode. Emotional graffiti. That's the title.
Okay, that's it. He's a solid, funny dude, and I had a great time walking around the park with him. One more time with the credits, though. Patreon.com/YarnworthPod to support us. Venmo me money. Sorta kidding, sorta not kidding. Oh, my buddy from Jim. My buddy from Chicago actually sent my buddy from Jim. I have a buddy from Jim. Anyway, he sent me $20 last week to help out with the laundry. It's jimthepoolguy.com if you are in Chicago and you want him to clean your pool. Jim, I love you, buddy. Thank you. That was really sweet. I was down and I needed that. I really shouldn't be letting everybody into my financial situation, but I don't want to feel safe to talk about what's going on with my girlfriend, because it's going good, and I'm trying to learn boundaries, and it would be excellent fodder to talk about, and I know you guys would find it entertaining, but I don't want to be alone for the rest of my life, so I'm going to keep a lid on it a little bit. That's what I hear from therapists. You should do that, but all right, maybe I'll talk about it more. It's interesting because this interview with Jeff, we recorded this back in March, and that was actually the first time I went out with my girlfriend. Right when we recorded this, it was right around the same time. So it was interesting. Jenny, if you're listening, I cut out the part I was talking about you. Not because I said anything bad, but because I think it didn't fit or something. Hey, so Twitter, @YarnworthPod. Oh, and the iTunes review us thing, if you're so inclined. I had a couple people say some nice things already, but 2 reviews on iTunes is sort of embarrassing. So come on, help us out. What do I want to say to you? I talk too much? That's why I have this show, so I can talk as much as I want and feel bad about it. Goodbye, you guys. Until next week. I hope you have a really good one. I really do. One day at a time, moving on up, and the name of any other sitcom that you can think of that is a name which you can derive inspiration from. You can derive inspiration from the names of sitcoms. Cheers! One day at a time. Moving on up. Happy days. You know what I mean? You can just say the names of the shows, and it makes you feel better. Okay. Oh, bye.